Hi, my name is Cullen, and I'm a personal injury attorney in Winter Park, Florida. One of the most frequent questions we're asked when we first meet a new client and talk about their case is, how long is my case going to last? We almost always respond by giving our client the most simple and honest answer that we can give, which is, I don't know, or we don't know. So I thought I would use this video to tell you about what the factors are and then give you my best guesstimate on how long a personal injury case might take. So one of the first factors that would impact how long a case might take is how long ago was the accident. If we are talking to a client a few days after an accident and they haven't even started medical treatment yet, then it'd be very difficult for us to know how long the case will take because we don't know what their medical journey is going to look like. On the other hand, if we're meeting with the client 7 months after their accident and they've already received the majority of their medical treatment and their doctor already has a good feel for what their prognosis is, then a personal injury case or our part of the claim would take much less time because most of the length of time dealing with their treatment is already over with. The second factor that might play into the length of a personal injury case is how severe are the injuries. If a person has very severe injuries that require lengthy treatment, then that case is obviously going to take longer than someone who has fairly minor injuries and only receives a few weeks or months of treatment. So the severity of the injury makes a big difference. Another factor that might affect the length of the case is how much is liability contested. In many cases, for example, rear-end accidents, there isn't a whole lot of argument about who is at fault or how the accident happened. However, there are accidents involving multiple vehicles or kind of a strange set of facts or circumstances at an intersection that might cause the parties to dig in and have a real battle over who's at fault. Those kinds of cases typically require litigation. In other words, a lawsuit has to be filed and lawyers have to get involved and depositions have to be taken and discovery has to be undertaken. And so cases with disputed liability or unusual facts tend to take a long time to resolve. On the other hand, cases that are super simple with very simple injuries that are that don't require a lot of treatment tend to be those cases that resolve more quickly. And yet another factor that might affect the length of a case is our client's expectations. If our clients have suffered relatively modest or minor injuries but expect that they're going to recover a lot of money at the end of their case, then that's a case that typically has to be litigated because the insurance company is not going to make a settlement offer in the range that the client expects or wants based on the injuries that our client has suffered. So if our client has expectations of a huge windfall out of the case or a huge settlement out of the case, then typically those cases take a lot longer to handle because we have to litigate them. So we have to file a lawsuit and do discovery and participate in all the things that a lawsuit involves, which typically drag cases out a lot longer. So if you've watched this video to this point, you probably still have a question in your mind, well, how long is my personal injury case likely to take? And again, I don't know. I can't answer that question specifically, but what I can tell you is that most of the cases, if we looked at all of the thousands of cases that we've handled over the last 25, 26 years, I would say that probably the average length of time for a case is about a year. Of course, many cases settle short of a year, and we have many cases that take a lot longer than a year. But if I was going to have to give an answer, going to have to guess, I would say you ought to probably plan for any personal injury case to take about a year. So if you have any questions about a personal injury case, how long they take, what goes into them, or anything, please reach out to us. We love to answer questions. You can reach out to us by calling us at 407-254-4901. You can always text us at 407-644-4444, or you can even message us through the Facebook app.